Honestly, the number one mistake that people make when they want to crush their cravings, when they finally make a decision that they want to crush their cravings, they want to overcome the fight that they have against processed food, against sugar, they use willpower. Now, it's funny because did you know scientifically willpower lasts for about 30 seconds and that's it? And then you actually have to reset the system. And the only way to reset your willpower system is to take a nap or to meditate. Willpower doesn't work. It's never worked. It won't ever work. It's a weak system. It's a faulty system. We need to understand that the reason that willpower doesn't work is it was never designed to work. It wasn't. Willpower is a last ditch emergency effort to keep you alive in the moment, for a moment, short term. We don't need a short term solution. We need a long term solution. We have to change our brain, right? We have to not react to things the same way that we've always reacted to them. When we walk into the break room at work and we see the junk, we need to respond differently. And in order for you to understand how to do that, you have to learn this really important thing about the brain. Now, I'm going to really keep this simple so you can understand it, because if you do and you really own these facts, it's going to help you overcome guilt and shame. And guilt and shame keeps more people from being successful at crushing their cravings than anything else. Guilt and shame and the belief that they just can't do it. Okay, here it is. Okay, so part of your brain right here is called the brain stem. It basically connects your spinal cord to your brain. It just keeps you alive. That's all it does. Respiratory rate, heart rate, blood pressure, body temperature. If this part of your brain is injured, you're dead, basically. Okay, above that you have the limbic system. In the limbic system lives the reward center. Okay, emotions come from here: fear, panic, anxiety. It also drives our survival. Things like finding shelter, proliferating, having sex, right? And then on top of that, on our forehead, we have something called a prefrontal cortex. Okay, your prefrontal cortex is responsible for doing very high-level thinking, figuring things out, manipulating situations, overcoming obstacles, sarcasm or humor. Very, very, very high functioning. So willpower is a very high functioning part of the brain. Here's the problem. Addiction, cravings, they come from our limbic system. They come from our reward center. And we cannot think our way out of cravings. It's not possible. Willpower will never work for cravings. It's not possible. Brain will always revert back to the simplest system. It's like electricity. It's lazy. It's going to take the path of least resistance. And that's going to the reward center in the limbic system, in the emotional center of your brain. It's going to listen to that. That voice is louder. Willpower cannot interrupt that voice because that voice is constant. It's not telling you to eat chips in a break room once. It's nagging you and whispering and convincing and conniving, and it's romancing you, right? Do you identify with this? The way that food talks to you, it calls you from the cabinet. You cannot say no all the time. That's not how willpower works. It's not possible. You have to change your thinking. You have to change the way that you respond to the triggers in your environment, the threats in your environment, in your relationships, the reminders to eat, 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 eat. So I want to tell you about a really, really simple, really, really powerful technique that you can use to fight against your cravings, because it's going to fight against the thinking that always draws you closer to picking up something that you're actually trying desperately to avoid. You're trying to avoid the foods that cause your cravings. You're trying to avoid the chips, the cookies, the whatever it is. It's called the Red Dog, Blue Dog Journal. This tool we use all the time because it's simple. So basically, you're going to have a thought that's negative, that's corrosive. That's from the Red Dog. This is the kind of thought that's trying to get you to use, to get you to eat, to get you to break your diet, to break your commitment, to do something harmful to yourself, right? And then you're going to respond with what we call the Blue Dog. And the blue dog is that voice of ownership, of responsibility, of pride, of personal power, right? And you're going to override that red dog thought. You're going to have a reason why you're not going to do it. Maybe your red dog says, why even bother trying? Like, this has never worked for you before. And maybe your blue dog says, you know what? I made a commitment today that I'm not going to pick up anything that I'm addicted to, and I'm going to do that. And tomorrow morning, maybe it'll be different, but just for today, I'm not going to use. You just have to practice. How is your blue dog? How is that positive part of your brain that wants to sustain you and have you flourish? How will that respond? And I want you to practice. I want you to keep a piece of paper in your pocket, and I want you to write down all those negative, corrosive thoughts, and I want you to respond to them, if you can, in real time. That is going to retrain your brain, and it's going to do more for you than willpower ever could. So use this simple tool, and it's going to change your life. Click the link below if you're interested in getting your 3 steps to crushing your cravings, and grab this free checklist so you can get started on your journey today. I am so glad you're here, and I believe in you.